We might be looking like this out here today, but let me assure you, the work outside here seems to never stop, no matter what month. Maybe December we get a little bit of a break. Today I'm going to share with you guys the things that I do for my garden in the month of November. I've been at this property for going on 14 years now, and I've gotten pretty good at refining my month by month list of things to do outside, or even, the indoor, anything that relates to the garden. And I thought I was pretty much done for November. I got an early start on it, except I still do need to set my bird feeders out and refill those. That'll be something I do maybe today, maybe I'll wait till tomorrow. And a few of the other things that I work on during November are getting my garlic planted, if I didn't already do that in October. And I think that I did that maybe in the first week of November, first few days of November this year. That sounds about right. Get any perennials or shrubs, trees planted that I haven't gotten to yet. Sometimes I still don't get to all of them, and then they just sit in their pots over the winter, and I do it in the spring. Not a big deal. I just make sure I keep them in somewhat of a sheltered place all through the winter so they're not getting battered by the wind. I finish any cleanup in the vegetable garden, and if you've been following my channel for these past few videos, then you probably are well aware of all the work that I've been doing over there. I'm calling that done. I feel pretty happy with everything I got done in the veggie garden, so we're checking that one off the list. And the other thing that I do most years, or at least every other year, is to shred leaves to use as mulch on my garden beds, my landscaping beds, anywhere that I would add mulch to. And I'm skipping that this year. I've been hearing and reading more and more about leaving the leaves over the winter, or at least the majority of them, so that the insects can overwinter under them. So I think I'm going to skip that this year. And what I did use instead as a mulch was just shredded hardwood mulch that I picked up at a landscaping place nearby. And I was really hoping to get the bird feeders out today. Unfortunately, they are looking like this. I clean them up pretty good, which I do when I put them up for the season, and then again before I set them out. I had them resting on this chair here to dry, and now they're covered with snow. I think I might still take them inside, just rinse all the snow off of them, dry them as best as I can, and go ahead and fill them and get them out here today. I'm sure the birds would appreciate the meal. And if you think about it, the bird feeders hang outside in all sorts of weather all summer long, so it's not going to hurt if it's wet a little bit. So I'll just do the best I can. And I usually will install those. We have a few trees right here in the very front of the house, on this oak tree here and on this cedar tree. And then there's another oak that kind of branches way out, and I'll usually put one there. And I've kind of gotten down to just these 3 feeders, and I'm really getting picky about the type of feeders that I use. This is just the outer casing of the feeder. Once I get these installed, I'll show you what it looks like. But these, to me, they're made by a company called Brome. I think it's Brom. I'll put it on the screen. And these are really good. They're called Squirrel Buster, and by and large they do keep the squirrels out. And then I have another one that I was gifted, which you can't tell now, but it has some like pretty decorative metal on it, and the cylinder is just plastic or whatever. So that one's done pretty good for me too, and I think it's really pretty, so I keep using that. But if I add more, they're definitely going to be these Brome ones. So I'm going to grab these feeders, take them inside, get the snow off of them, get them dried off a little bit, get them. Oh, the snow's really blowing. That's just blowing off of the trees, I think. I don't think that is like fresh snow coming down. Okay, I changed my mind, brought you in here with me. Yeah, I'm just going to do everything in here. And I was able to knock the snow, or at least most of it, off of those feeders. And I think I'm just going to add the seed, put them back together, and just hang them on the trees. So I thought we could chat while I filled these with seed. So let me grab them. They're right over here. And it'll give me a chance to share with you how nice these brome feeders are. Yeah, Brome, B-R-O-M-E. It's bromebirdcare.com. I'm not affiliated. I've just used their bird feeders for years, and I love them. So this is they're called Squirrel Buster. And I have two of these, like I mentioned. One of them, this one, I can tell because it's a lot dirtier and more yellowed, I've had for years, maybe 10 years, a long time. And then just a couple of years back when I was using some like cheaper ones, and the squirrels were getting into them very easily, or they just weren't holding up, I went ahead and bought a second one. And I thought that it's interesting that they're made exactly the same. The only thing that's a little different, they've changed, the printing on there, but it's still the same model, called Squirrel Buster Standard. They have a whole bunch of other ones. This one is their standard one, I guess. But yeah, it's really good. I love them. And I think, like I mentioned, if I get more, if I want to keep increasing the number of feeders, I'm going to just stick with these. And maybe next time I would even like treat myself to one of their more upgraded models. I haven't really looked at them too closely to see what extra features you might get, but they're not the cheapest things in the world, but they're not terribly expensive. It's put a link below if you're interested in these. And this is the seed that I use. It's nothing fancy. I'm not an avid birder, and in fact, I probably, like, out of all the winter birds that hang around here that don't migrate away, I maybe could name just a handful, and the main ones that we have here in Southern Ohio. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, my name's Angela. I'm a home gardener growing in my southwestern Ohio garden, Zone 6. Apologize for not introducing myself sooner. I think the cold and the drifting snow kind of threw me off. Anyway, here in Southern Ohio, we have cardinals, like a ton of cardinals, and they're so beautiful. They would be pretty against the snow today, although I haven't seen any. I think the birds are still kind of hunkered down because the snow is brand new and it's still coming down a little bit. And we have blue jays, a bunch of different types of woodpeckers, maybe chickadees. Yes, so I love having the birds around. I love listening to their songs. I'm just not like, I don't have like a life list, and I don't track which ones I see and notice the migration patterns. And all due respect to the really serious birders who do all that. That's just not me. But I do want to encourage them to hang around because I like having them. So the seed that I use is it's a brand called Nature Song. I just get it at my local grocery store, and it's this. And let's see what it has in it. Oh, and they even have a quick reference on the back that goes over a lot of the, maybe 20 or 30 of the common birds, I guess, in the United States. Sorry, I keep going out of frame. I can't set my camera up any higher. And it tells like what they like to eat. In this particular mix, we've got millet, sunflower seed, cracked corn, and safflower seed, and it may contain peanuts, tree nuts, wheat, fish, and soy for allergies. But it's not anything fancy or terribly expensive. Sometimes I'll get a big bag at a local hardware store or Tractor Supply that might have a little bit beefier mix in it. Mostly it just has these tiny little seeds, which that might be the millet. I'm not sure. Anyway, let me grab my little cup that I use to dump the seed into here. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm gonna have to shuffle things around a little bit. I'm running out of space. My scissors are getting dull. It's probably because I use them out in the garden all the time when they're really just kitchen scissors. So I'll have to do better about that. So this part here is just like the inner cylinder, and this is going to make a mess. So I'm going to grab a bowl, and you just dump the seed right down in the center, and it does tend to this or down here is where the birds eat from. So it'll kind of pop out, the seed will, as I'm filling it. So this bowl will catch all the overflow. And then this part that's like a cage goes down over the top of it, and there's a little like spike. It's not a spike, it's just a little piece that's kind of sticks up there. And it has a small hole in it. Let me bring this in closer so you can see that. And this is the hanging rod, and it has a hook on one end. And this hook goes right into that hole. This part slides down to cover that up, and then we're ready to go. So these, and they actually, they have tension on them, like a spring or something. So and you can set the weight parameters so that when the bird lands on these little ledges, they're not going to add so much weight that they pull that down. But if a squirrel jumps on these ledges or onto the cage or anything, the squirrel's weight will pull that down, and thereby closing off the openings where the seed is. Just closes it right up. So it's pretty ingenious design. I'm going to get my other one filled up. And truth be told, I haven't really ever messed with the tension on it too much. I would actually have to read the instructions probably. Actually, there's a little arrow, double-sided arrow with a plus and a minus. So I think if you turn this, it changes the tension. I don't know. I'm not messing with it today because I really haven't had any problems with it. But I will make it a point to read about it so that I at least know how to adjust it. And you can use that tension feature not only to keep squirrels out, but if you want to keep larger birds out as well. You can, it's pretty, like you can refine it pretty incrementally. I'm not sure sensitive. I'm not sure what the right word is, but it's very adjustable as far as how much tension you want to allow on this. So, and then by the way, this part, I realize you guys can't probably see too much. Let me come around. It will stand up on its own on a hard surface. Not that you would ever want to use that as its resting place because it could easily get knocked over, but it helps when you're filling it that it will stand up right on its own. You don't have to worry about holding it up with one hand while trying to fill it with the other. And then there's my little spike sticking up there. Put this right through. put that down. Now we're ready to go. And my other feeder, this is one that I was gifted, and I think it came from Amazon. I'll put a link in it if I can find it. So it's not, doesn't have fancy mechanisms like the Brome does or anything, but it's so pretty. Let me bring it in a little closer. It's just really decorative with the metal, and it has two little ledges there for the birds to stand on, at two there and two above, like alternating. And then the lid just, oh, the lid still has a leaf and some ice. So we'll get that out of there. So you fill it and then just close it like that, and it just hangs. So this one's a lot easier for the unwanted critters to get into, but it is very pretty. And frankly, I don't mind if the squirrels want to get some food too. I mean, you know, they need to survive too. I just don't want them getting all the food. Which, you know, they would do if they had the opportunity. Okay, so I just leave my little cup inside the bag. That way I don't, it's always there when it's time to refill the feeders. And I'm gonna close this up, and I just use one of these chip clips. And I keep this bag sitting pretty near the front door, the door that we use most often to go in and out, so that it's easy to refill the feeders. Otherwise, I would put it off for far too long. And I'll probably end up for all winter going through 2 or 3, probably 3 of these big bags. And that's not keeping them full 100% of the time. Like sometimes when they're empty, it might take me a couple of days to refill. So I'd say maybe 3 of these big bags. And the size of this, how many pounds is this? It's 20 pounds. So that's just a guess on the number of bags. Maybe I'll track it this year and see how many I actually go through. And I don't keep the feeders out past, say, March-ish, April maybe, just because I don't want the birds to become dependent on having these feeders year-round. And frankly, I really don't think that they need the feeders year-round. There is so much vegetation and trees and berries and all kinds of things around here that they can usually do all right for themselves during the warmer months. So this is pretty much just a winter thing for me. I'm going to get these hung, and I'll probably have to do that by myself since I'm just me and I can't hold the camera and do this. But I will check back in and show you where I hung them. And I'm on my way out. I wanted to show you guys something else that I use. So I have had issues with deer being able to reach the feeders and just stand there having a buffet right at the feeder. I do put cracked corn out for the deer, like all the way at the other end of the property. So I don't want them at my bird feeders. So I bought these little devices. I don't know what to call it. It's like a hanger. And you hook one side into the hook of the bird feeder, and then this is the end that goes around the tree branch because it's bigger. And inside this little coiled part, there's an opening. I just use like the end, like a long-handled broomstick here. You just put that in there, and it gives you a lot of height that you can like reach way up and put this on a much higher branch. It won't keep the squirrels from trying to get to the feeders, but it will keep the deer away. So I forgot I had these things. I saw the broom handle, which is over in the corner near where I keep my bag of bird seed. And then I remembered these little hooks. So yeah, I went out to the shed, grabbed these. I'm gonna go get these hung, and I'll be right back. I got all 3 hung. I have to be careful going down these steps. So I can't look at the camera while I'm walking down the steps. So I kind of spaced them out a little bit, but they are pretty much all just right here in the front of the house. So we have a good view of the birds, and also so that it encourages me to keep filling them. If they were spaced farther out, which we could do, there's enough trees, I would just get lazy about it. Like, it's too far away. I don't want to walk out there. So I've got one. Let me flip you around. So I've got one in this cedar tree or juniper that's close to the house right there. And I've got it hung way up there so you can kind of see I've got my broomstick here. No jokes about that, please. If Hubs were watching this, he'd have some broomstick jokes, I'm sure. And it just goes right up in that little coil thing, and you can reach these higher branches like at least I would never be able to reach on my own. And the other one, if you can see it hanging right there, it's another cedar / juniper tree. We trimmed our big oak tree, this one here, because it had some really good branches coming off, but the branches were dead. So we went ahead and did some pruning on that earlier this year. So I lost my hanging branches from my bird feeders. It's okay. And then the other one is here on yet another juniper cedar tree. I don't know the difference between those two. That's why I use both words. I don't know what these exactly are. So that one is up there pretty high too. Like, I would not have been able to reach that on my own. So yeah, the birds ought to start being happy here soon. Takes them a minute to realize that the feeders are back, and probably some of them aren't even the same birds that were here last winter. So, but they will catch on soon enough. Looks like we're just getting a couple inches snow today, so that's not too much. So that might be my last November task for this year, unless we get warm again, and then I'll try to get some more of these perennials planted. As long as the ground can still be worked, you can, keep planting. But this, we'll see. I think it is supposed to warm back up into the high 50s or 60s next week, maybe later even in this week. This is Monday, November 10th, I believe. So we'll just have to see. December is usually pretty slow. The only gardening thing I'm doing in December, other than keeping these feeders filled, is planning next year's garden. So reading gardening books. But once January comes, there are going to be active things to do again, like clean all the seed starting gear and everything like that. So that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you found it helpful. Maybe you learned a little trick about these little bird feeder hanger doodads. They are so nice. If you enjoyed the video, it would help my channel out a lot if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. And if you're interested in seeing a little winter walkabout I did on the property a few years ago, I would say it was on a day similar to today, maybe temperature wise, but we didn't have snow on the ground. That video is right here. And until next time, just keep planting as long as the ground can be worked.